It is Big 12 Conference Gymnastics. Today a duel between West Virginia and Iowa State. Cyclone fans filing in for this one. Should be a good one. Hi, everybody. I'm John Walters, along with former Cyclone gymnast Annie Johnson. Glad you could join us tonight. And Annie, these two teams coming off their best performances of the season, so they have some positive momentum coming into this one.
Absolutely. Both of these teams are beginning that uphill climb that season is, and you can really see the momentum beginning for both these teams.
And they have some individuals who are doing very well, including Kendra Combs for West Virginia.
Kendra Combs is one of those senior leaders that has really continued to improve throughout her career. Ever since the first three meets her freshman year, she has been a competitor at every single meet. You can see her here on floor, which is a huge event for her. Her career high is a 9.9, and she is a big reason that the West Virginia team is ranked 7th nationally coming into this meet.
Speaking of floor exercise, a model of consistency for Iowa State has been Maddie Diab.
Maddie was recruited specifically for floor, and she has not disappointed Cyclone Nation one bit. She has scored a 9.9 on every single meet so far this season, and she is ranked 29th nationally. It's been so fun to watch her grow and show her personality throughout the years and really become a leader on this team.
She's the pride of Glenbard West High School, Glen Ellen, Illinois, the Hilltoppers, and she leads this Iowa State team tonight against West Virginia. Back with starting lineups and our first rotation right after these messages. It is the 24th meeting all time between Iowa State and West Virginia. Cyclones lead the series and have won 9 in a row. And like any other competition, there are rules. Annie, what do we have?
For a typical dual meet, you're going to see 6 gymnasts per team compete on each event, with the lowest score of those 6 routines dropped for each event. Of those, all 4 apparatuses, the team with the highest cumulative score wins, and the home team will be following Olympic order, which is vault, bars, beam, floor, and the away team will be doing the direct opposite, bars, vault, floor, and ending on the lovely beam.
Well said, and let's take a look at the vault lineup for Iowa State. And they'll be led off by Ariana Arrego, the Olympian, Hannah Loyam, Kelsey Boychuk, Josie Bergstrom, Emily Hong, and Michaela Maxwell to hit cleanup for the Cyclones. And on bars for West Virginia, they'll go with Esperanza Abarca, Rachel Hornan, Anna Lee, and then it'll be Kiana Yancey, Kendra Combs, who we talked about in the open, and Emily Holmes-Hacker. And vault, Anna, goes very quickly, and you got to be ready when your opportunity presents itself.
It absolutely does. You'll see here Michaela starting with a 1.5. They did add another 1.5, which starts from a 10.0 start value into the lineup last week, which should be exciting to see here. But they have great talent on this vault lineup, and ever since the first meet, they've really been honing in on those landings and finding a little bit more control in a stick landing, as you can see there in the recap. And those landings really is what separates the good teams from the great teams on this event specifically, as well as those 10.0 start values. So very exciting to see them adding more 10.0 start values into this lineup.
Iowa State finished 11th nationally in vault last year. That was a terrific year for the Cyclones on vault. For West Virginia on bars, and there you see their team season recap over the course of the season, a record of 2-2, 0-1 in the Big 12, coming off their best performance against Denver. And they had a meet canceled against LSU. But on bars, they're 53rd nationally. It's their weakest event so far this season. But a lot of times with these events, Annie, the season wears on and teams just keep getting better and better.
Absolutely, and that is partially due to just getting experience. Some of these people are freshmen, haven't had as much experience in the competition. You're representing your university, and that can be kind of intimidating transitioning from club to collegiate athletics. So getting more numbers, getting more routines, and under the big lights is really what these teams are looking for to kind of get a little bit more consistency and hit those more routines, as well as those hard landings.
So it'll all start with the Cyclones on vault with Ariana Arrego out of Peru. There you see the Cyclone season recap. Boy, a lot of injuries, such a tough part of the sport, and it is very much a part of the sport. You see the Cyclones coming off their season high at Auburn. And there's Jay Ronayne. He is in his 16th season as the Cyclone coach. He's Had 9 Cyclones win Big 12 titles, 7 earn All-American recognition, and reached the NCAA regionals 13 of the 14 times it was possible for Iowa State. And they will turn things over to Ariana Arrego, the first Peruvian gymnast in Olympics, in gymnastics. And she was in Rio in 2016, then in Tokyo in 2020. And here she is.
Ari is a solid start for this vault lineup at every meet. And so she should be putting up a good Yurchenko full that you'll see here in a second. Last meet, she got a 9.775. Great position and just the smallest little foot adjustment on the landing there.
Good start, it seems.
Absolutely good start. You'll see here how her hips are open. She's really worked on that, the amplitude and the shaping in her vault throughout her years here at Iowa State.
And turns us over to Esperanza Abarca out of the Colony, Texas. 4 career wins on bars. She's the most experienced gymnast on this West Virginia team. She's competed in 38 meets over her 4 seasons.
And she has been the start-off competitor since her freshman year, which is a huge role to fill. You'll see a huge ganger. That is my favorite release move, and she does it beautifully. She really flies above the bar, which is what the judges are looking for on this event with those release moves. Just the dismount left. You see she does another giant full. The same element is allowed twice in a routine, and basically a stuck landing. It'll be up to the judges what they count that one as, but another great start.
Both teams happy with their starts so far in this one?
Absolutely, and the first competitor is the most crucial competitor because it really sets the tone for the rest of the lineup, and every time a hit routine happens, it's a little bit of a weight lifted off the next girl's shoulders.
Here's one of the talented freshmen for Iowa State, Hannah Loyam on vault.
She has competed in every vault lineup. Last meet was a little bit rough. She got lost in the air, but she recovered awesomely. A little bit of a hop back, but to see her on her feet is good. It was a little bit of a scary landing last meet, but she bounced back like a champ. And you'll see that replay right here. Huge height. Just got to look for that landing a little bit more.
There's Jay Ronayne celebrating with Hoyam. And next up is Rachel Hornan, a senior from Pittsburgh, competing on bars for West Virginia. Very experienced senior again, 3 times. First team academic all Big 12.
You'll see a lot of upperclassmen in the West Virginia lineups, and rightfully so. They bring with them a lot of talent, a lot of experience, a lot of leadership, and they've been through 3 seasons that have been untraditional, to say the least, and they are very well seasoned in that front, and were forced to become and step up as leaders their sophomore years with everything going on, and they continue to serve as a great role on this team.
Catching up a little on the scores, Arrego had a 9.800 on that opening vault for Iowa State. And here is Rachel Hornan.
A straddle Jaeger goes right down into a bail handstand. Legs are glued together. A front giant. You don't see that a whole lot in college gymnastics. Right into a double tuck. We'll count that as a stick. Very excited. Another awesome start for the Cyclones.
So Rachel Hornan, another look at her effort.
Her career high is a 9.825, and she should be putting up a good score with that routine.
There's Kelsey Boychuk.
Kelsey has scored a 9.8 the last 2 meets, and you can see why right there. Great amplitude. She was a little bit close to the table. On vault, the judges are looking for height off the table as well as distance from the table. She did a great job at the first part, but we would like to see her extend a little bit farther from that table. You'll see a replay of that right here. Yurchenko full, huge height. She is capable of doing a 1.5 as well, and so we'll hopefully see that later on in the season.
So far for Iowa State on vault, Arrego has matched her career high with a 9.800, and then Loyam with a 9.725, and then that effort from Kelsey Boychuk. Now up on bars for West Virginia is Anna Lee, a freshman from St. Michael, Minnesota. And Abarca opened with a 9.725 for West Virginia on bars.
Being a Minnesotan myself, I must say that she's probably happy to return to the Midwest. Hopefully she has some family and friends that made the trek down to watch her perform as her freshman season.
Her career high in her last time out, a 9.700 last week against Denver. Of course, when you're a freshman, it's a small sample size.
Absolutely. She's definitely going to improve on that throughout her career, for sure. She does a pike Jaeger, which has a higher skill value than a straddled Jaeger, which you saw some from her other teammates, right down to a packed salto. She struggled with that skill her first meet, but had no problem with it there. Double layout, a little bit soft legs on the landing. It looked like she let go of the bar a little bit early. Didn't quite make the rotation all the way around, which is why she was forced to take that step forward. But great amplitude, great height off the bar.
The work of Anna Lee, and here is Josie Bergstrom.
Josie, I love that she really flares out on the landing, and she can see the landing, as you see right there. She opens up, and you can visibly see her eyes look at that mat before she lands. Some people kind of drill into the vault landing, but with her extended body that she has, she does a fabulous job at that.
She's going to be a good one, isn't she?
Absolutely, and any Midwestern state, I feel like, loves a home body, and being from Iowa, I know that Cyclone Nation is definitely going to look forward to seeing her compete throughout her career.
Wojcik, by the way, set a new season high for her with a 9.825 on her vault. And Josie Bergstrom, the pride of Boyden, Iowa, just wrapping up hers. And that turns things over to Kiana Yancey, a junior out of Hatfield, Pennsylvania, on bars for West Virginia.
She scored a 9.85 last meet, with a 9.875 being her career high. So just barely missed out on that career high.
There you see the numbers. Hornan had a 9.700 on her effort on bars.
You can see how her pack floats a lot more. She has time before she catches the bar, which is exactly what the judges will be looking for. And you'll notice she doesn't have a single bar release, which adds some uniqueness to this bar lineup. Amazing stuck dismount. That double layout had amazing shape, open hips, really rose and floated down to the floor.
Bergstrom's vault, by the way, a 9.825 for Iowa State. Now Emily Hong. And this event is Emily's strength. She's former Canadian national title holder.
She does only compete this event, but she brings so much joy, as you can see in her face. A huge 1.5, which was the 10.0 start value that the Cyclones added that I was mentioning before last meet at Auburn. And they love to see the 1.5s in the lineups. Perfection is what they are trying to obtain, as you can see from the fans in the background holding up those 10 signs. And hard to do that when you're starting from a 9.95 as a Yurchenko full does.
Getting caught up a bit here. Anna Lee had a 9.750 on bars, which brings us now to Kendrick Combs, who set her career high on the all-around last week, a senior leader again for this West Virginia team.
She is a clutch performer on all events, so you can look forward to seeing her in every single event tonight. She stuck the landing on this dismount last meet. She's looking for that. Oh, good save right there. Great landing, stuck again, 2 times in a row.
Boy, that was an impressive save, wasn't it?
A very impressive save, and that just speaks to her as a senior, being comfortable. And if you're a little bit off, work around it, work with it. She was just trying to go for that handstand so hard, and she definitely hit it.
There's Michaela Maxwell. Emily Hong had a 9.850 on her effort on vault, tying her season high. And here is Michaela Maxwell.
Michaela won this event last week and is definitely looking to clinch that title again with a 1.5 Yurchenko. Small hop, but that is one of her better vaults for sure this season. She is capable of sticking it. I've seen her do it several times, as she did last meet, scoring a 9.9. Twisted a little bit early, but great vault. very impressive vault lineup put up by the Cyclones.
Yeah, it was. And wrapping things up on bars for West Virginia will be Emily Holmes-Hackard, junior from Ipswich, Massachusetts. Just the second time she's competed this season.
Blind drain into Pike Jaeger. Oh.
And remember, you do throw out the worst score of the 6.
Luckily enough, she is the last competitor, so it won't rattle any of the other competitors that have to go up after her, but it's not something you want to see in competition. Her freshman year, she was actually acknowledged for the most improved on her team. And she's definitely been a clutch performer for them throughout her years, now being a junior.
Does well in the classroom too, 2 times academic All Big 12.
Had 30 seconds to get back up on the bar. And she's going to proceed with her routine. Straight over to a bail. That was supposed to be connected, the Jaeger over to the shoot over. Had to do it from a swing due to the fall. A giant full with a double tuck. Stuck dismount. And that is what you love to see. A gymnast coming back after fighting through adversity, not having a perfect routine, being a little bit off. You like to see them come back with a strong finish and set up the momentum for the next event. That's all what gymnastics is one big round of momentum.
We will take a break here. We're done with our first rotation, and we'll come back and visit with Travis Doak, assistant coach for West Virginia, coming up next. First rotation, and we visit now with West Virginia associate head coach Travis Doak. And coach, your thoughts on what we've seen so far?
We're adapting, and especially with COVID, you didn't get the numbers maybe in inter squads. So these meets are our inter squads as we get ready and we prepare to make the strongest lineup we can. So it's a good step in a good direction. We still have some fine tuning.
I know you didn't have the hope of the start that you were looking for this season, but how did the girls handle it with all the adversity they faced?
You know, I actually think it was a really humbling experience for these athletes. You know, they understand the opportunities in front of them now. It's nothing is given, and we have a great team. Chemistry's there. They're positive. So I think they handled it really well.
Awesome. And then what can we look forward to coming up? I know floor is a big event for you, and I know I'm excited to watch that, but just give us a little taste of what's to come.
You know, I think that there's a lot of exclamation points because I just think that there's some exciting gymnastics on every event. You're going to see personality on floor, sure, but you're also going to see some aggressive beam routines. I just think that there's a lot coming from this team because they're determined.
Awesome. Well, best of luck the rest of this season and as well as today.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you for meeting with
Appreciate
us.
it.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time. That's Travis Doak. He is the associate head coach for the West Virginia Mountaineers. And we move on to rotation number 2. Iowa State will be on bars and West Virginia on vault as they trade places. There's the scores. And Michaela Maxwell led the way for Iowa State. And their team score, 49.175, a season high.
They had a great start, and I don't know what more you could ask for from these Cyclones, as well as West Virginia put up a great start as well on bars. So it should be a really exciting meet from here on out, as if it hasn't been already.
Bars for West Virginia. You'll get a look at their scores. And a team score of 48.675 on bars for West Virginia.
Those are great numbers put up by the Mountaineers. Not quite there, as Coach Travis was saying, but there's room to improve this season. We're still in January. It's a long, long road ahead, and they got to peak at the right time. So that's exactly what they were looking for today.
Enthusiastic crowd here tonight at Hilton Coliseum. Excited about rotation number 2. What do you think we'll see here, Annie, with Iowa State on bars and West Virginia on vault?
Iowa State is a beautiful bar workers. They have some pretty fun release moves, and on West Virginia on vault, they are a powerhouse. I love watching them because they just fly. They may not have as many 10-0 start values as a lot of other teams, but they really go all out in this event, and that's as a viewer, is something that I would want to see on every event. So I'm excited to definitely watch both of these teams on their respective events.
West Virginia ranks 36th nationally on vault, and Iowa State currently 26th nationally on bars, coming off a season high at Auburn. And Nielsen Savage, a great bars coach. Iowa State finished 23rd as a team a year ago.
Absolutely, and this is the strongest event at this point of the season as well, with a rank of 27. And huge credit goes out to these girls that really put in the numbers and put in a lot of effort on this event. This is not an event that comes easy. I can say firsthand it did not come easy to me, but they do a fabulous job in the gym grinding away at this event to really perfect that.
You see the lineup there: Maxwell, Palacios, Loyam, Cook, Boswell, and Arrego for Iowa State. And West Virginia on vault will go with Yancey Combs, and then Brooke Albin, who we haven't seen yet tonight, and then Kiana Lewis, Rachel Hornan, and Abby Pearson will round things off for West Virginia on vault.
Definitely exciting to see a freshman break through in that lineup.
Kiana Yancey is the leadoff hitter for West Virginia on vault. She's a junior out of Hatfield, Pennsylvania. And an all-arounder as well.
Yes, she has been a leadoff competitor for both meets so far this season. Vault average is a 9.75, as you can see there. She'll be competing your Yurchenko full, and I want you to pay attention to the height she gets off of the table. It really flies from the table.
9.75 both times out for Yancey this season. Her career high, 9.825.
Good vault put up by her. I definitely have seen her fly a little bit higher. She seemed a little bit soft in the round-off. That's a good start, though, for the Mountaineers.
And the height that you gain is an important facet.
Absolutely. It's one of the very few things judges can deduct from in a 1-second routine.
Always fun to watch Michaela Maxwell. Better each time out on bars. She capped it with a 9.825 at Auburn. Her career high, 9.850. She's done that twice, including against West Virginia last year. And she, too, first team academic All Big 12. We've already seen her win vault, and now we see Michaela on bars.
Definitely hoping to put up a good performance as she did on vault. You'll see her start here with a Jaeger, which you'll see from the majority of this bar lineup. They do the same release move. Very good height. Just a tiny bit close to the bar on her catch. You saw she bent her arms a little bit. 9.825 was her season high at the last meet. Now just the dismount.
Nicely done by Michaela Maxwell.
Very nicely done. She really hit those handstands and went all out. Did not hold back a little bit on those handstands at all. You can see the excitement in her face.
Love that. And Kendra Combs up next on vault for West Virginia.
You're going to see a different vault put up by Kendra Combs, but I love being able to see these athletes compete on new events. This is her first year in the vault lineup. You could see right there, just couldn't quite really find that landing. And as I've mentioned, they don't really put in a whole lot of numbers on hard surfaces during preseason. So still early on, trying to find where those landings are during competition, which will happen throughout the season. But as I was saying, I love being able to see these athletes compete on new events as a senior.
Landing on vault has to be one of the toughest things in gymnastics.
It hurts my body just watching it.
Mine too, and I've never done it. Ana Palacios out of Barcelona is up next for Iowa State on bars, coming off a career high 9.850 at Auburn. So great momentum for Ana heading into this competition.
Absolutely. Ana is one of those competitors that is stepping up in place of Addie, who will not be competing.
Yancey had a 9.775 on her vault. We'll keep scores updated for you as we go as best we can.
Anna is a very stoic performer. She has a lot of confidence, but is one of the most humble people that I have met. And she performs with such confidence in everything that she does. Here you're going to see another Jaeger. Piked this, oh. The piked Jaeger saw another fall. She's going to get right back up on the bar, choose not to get chalk. That's really hard on bars especially because every skill is connected. You don't get to just jump off and take a deep breath. It is very hard to gain your momentum back after that. She finishes with a double layout, a little bit slow rotation, but a stuck landing. I know that's not the performance she wanted to put up. A little bit disappointed. Here's another look at that dismount, though, a highlight of the routine. Great landing. Kiana Lewis with a Yurchenko pull, stuck dismount, a little bit chest down on the landing, but she did stick it, so I mean, that's what you want to look for.
Brooke Albin, I believe, there.
Oh, Brooke Albin.
Yep.
Yep.
And that was, sorry, my fault, Brooke, a freshman.
And as a freshman, that's a great vault to see.
We had a 9.625 for Maxwell on the opening bars routine for Iowa State. And Combs on her vault had a 9.575. And up next on bars for Iowa State is going to be Hannah Loyam, a freshman from Mountain Lakes, New Jersey, coming off a career high at Auburn, 9.800.
A huge score to put up in one of your first few meets, especially at a SEC meet when huge crowd, a lot of energy, a lot of noise, and people that aren't necessarily rooting for you. So great performance put up by her.
Hannah has a sister who competes at Boise State, her sister Emma.
Her and her twin sister are very close and wish the best in each other. And it's cool to see them take different paths in college.
That is unique, isn't it?
It is. And she has done a great job at coming up after falls in every single meet so far, actually, this season. 2 meets ago, she had to come up after a fall on beam as well as after a fall on floor. And so, although she is just a freshman, she is very seasoned in having a lot of pressure. Just the dismount. Huge routine put up. Got the Cyclones back on the right track. You'll see a look at that Jaeger again. Piked Jaeger, same one that Ana Palacios fell on. And then another look at that dismount. Huge double layout. Great position, legs glued together. Just a little bit stumbly on the dismount.
And now it's Kiana Lewis on vault.
Now Kiana Lewis is doing Yurchenko full. Another stuck landing. Again, the chest is a little bit down. You want to see more rotation on that full and see them kind of flare open and see that landing before it's time to land. But no one's ever going to complain about a stuck landing.
Albin, by the way, had a 9.775 on her vault. And that brings us to Laura Cook on bars. Laura, the junior from Norwich, England. And her season high 9.775, her career high a 9.800 at Oklahoma in 2020.
Laura has really found her place in this lineup, having made an appearance at every meet so far, and you're about to see why. Beautiful Maloney back down to the low bar in a pack. A quick routine, but a very impressive routine. She changed the dismount this year to double layout.
Wow.
Wow is right. That might just put a run up for the money for her career high so far.
Another look.
Her eyes were like darts into that mat looking for the landing.
They were. And it gets us to Rachel Hornan.
Another great vault put up by West Virginia. Another Yurchenko full. A little bit pikey hips this time, but another very controlled landing.
If you blink, you miss vault. Hornan, nicely done.
she actually scored a 10-0 on this vault in club gymnastics in 2016. And scoring is different in college versus club. They're looking for different elements and things, but very impressive nonetheless to score a 10-0 in JO. It's almost more uncommon in JO than collegiate gymnastics.
Lewis, by the way, had a 9.825 on her vault. And on bars, Hannah Loyam had a 9.775 for Iowa State. And now competing is Logan Boswell.
She's a very reliable competitor on this event. And she is beautiful to watch. Whether you know gymnastics or not, you can tell that she is a competitor and a bar swinger for sure. Did a Jaeger down to a bail handstand, and just for the dismount left. Also changed her dismount this season to a double layout. Awesome routine.
Logan Boswell.
Excited, rightfully so.
Her career high came a year ago at Northern Illinois, a 9.900. She might come close to matching it right here.
I would believe so, but it's all up to the judges.
There's Abby Pearson, and she'll wrap things up. 4 career vault titles for Pearson.
She is capable of a 1.5. We'll see what she performs today. Huge 1.5, stuck landing.
Boy, she's excited.
I would be too. That was a huge vault. Great distance, great height. I love that the Mountaineers team, really their vault lineup got better and better. And that's about as close as perfect as you can get. And I'm excited to see her finally competing her 1.5 on vault.
Great finish for West Virginia on vault with Abby Pearson.
Jason Butt said she is the most dynamic vaulter in their lineup, and now we can see why.
And Ariana Arrego will wrap things up for Iowa State on bars.
Ari has been a little bit off this season. You can see that reflected in her bars average, but again, that's only through 3 meets.
And by the way, Laura Cook, a new career high, 9.825 with her bars routine.
That was a skill that just caused her a little bit of trouble, that connection right there. So I'm sure she's having a sigh of relief in her bar routine that is over with. Just the handstand left, and now gearing up for her double layout dismount. She really got to focus on getting the toes up.
Arrego.
You can see that she is beyond happy for that. Great way to finish, especially with the fall in there by Anna. It's great to see a team that can step up for their team and for each individual.
Terrific work by Ariana Arrego. And one more look at the dismount. Abby Pearson, by the way, you about jumped out of your seat, Annie, when she landed that vault. A new career high, 9.950. Her previous career high was 9.900, so easily exceeded that. Terrific job by Pearson. And we are through 2 rotations here in Ames with Iowa State and West Virginia in a tight one. We're halfway home with Iowa State and West Virginia, and we visit with Cyclone coach Jay Ronayne. And coach, a season high for your team on vault, which was a great start, and then a couple individuals had new career highs on bars.
Yeah, from the very first vault from Ariana, we knew she was going to set the tone. It was either going to be a 9.65, and that would set the tone, or a 9.8 or higher, and that would set the tone. So we just knew whatever she did today to start the meet would get us going. Started off with probably the best I've seen her do on vault, and that's just what we needed. And then coming back on bars and saving us because we had a fall going into that, and you know, there was a lot of pressure on her, and she's been struggling with her dismount, but she was able to deliver when it counted. I'm really proud.
Speak a little bit on Hannah Loyam. She's come up after a fall several times, and being a freshman, that is not an easy position to be in. So speak a little bit on behalf of her.
Every time, it's happened too many times that she's had to follow somebody that has made a mistake. If I looked in her eyes and had to predict what was going to happen, I would think she's going to fall 7 times, because she has the look that appears to me is like she's scared. but that somehow is her focus, and she gets it together. I am so impressed with her. I don't see seniors that can handle that kind of pressure, but she's doing it as a freshman.
Absolutely. The freshman class is very impressive, and I know beam has been an event that the Cyclones have struggled on a little bit. What have you focused on going into this week differently?
It's been just let your body do what it knows it can do. They were getting too tight in competition and trying to force things, and that's the thing that we have to just let go. And so that's been our focus. Let your body do what it can do, because you do it a lot. So that's what we're trying to go into this next event thinking, and that is 100% what we're doing.
And that's the most important thing about this level. Thank you so much, and good luck for the rest of the meet.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Jay Ronayne, Iowa State head coach, joining us as the Cyclones had a 48.900 team score on bars. In West Virginia, a very impressive 49.125 on vaults, led by Abby Pearson with her new career high 9.950. There you see the individual scores on bars for Iowa State. Overcoming the fall by Palacios, as Jay mentioned. Boy, that really puts the pressure on the next four, and they all handled it well.
Absolutely, and I know that they're very grateful that they were able to drop that lowest score and really bounce back beautifully from that with great class.
West Virginia, meanwhile, competed on vault, and we'll take a look at their scores individually in that event. And as we mentioned, capped by Pearson.
And I don't know what the judges took on that. Maybe she had a flex toe, but she did fabulous. Great competitor for sure, and I love to see that cap off their already fabulous vault lineup.
So it's a good tight battle between Iowa State and West Virginia. We'll move on to beam for the Cyclones. It's their event where they've struggled this season. Now, typically, they've been pretty good, and they hit a season high last year at the Big 12 Championship and finished 21st nationally on beam. So historically, they've done well. They've had some injuries to deal with. There's the lineup: Steinmeier and Bergstrom, and it starts with Sophia Steinmeier.
Slight bobble check there, and they have had a little bit rough of start. They have 48.375 as their highest team total, which is a point lower than they are capable of. This is a very talented beam lineup. A handspring layout, step out. As legend John Madden once said, the road to Easy Street goes through the sewer.
Steinmeier suffered a lower leg injury in the final meet last year. She's come back from that. Jay Ronayne really loves her. He called her the rock of this team.
And that's exactly what she is. I've seen her grow into a beautiful competitor as well as young lady, and to see her serve as such a leadership role on this team is very inspiring.
Typically the leadoff hitter on beam, as she is tonight.
Very crucial role. Finishing off with a 1.5 stuck dismount. That must feel good after coming back from a fall from last week. Here's a replay at that dismount. Huge routine for the Cyclones.
And now let's prepare for West Virginia on floor, where they rank 7th nationally. Before this season, last time West Virginia appeared in the Road to Nationals Top 10 in event 2001 on floor. And this is Anna Lee leading it off.
Boy, John, I can tell you I am excited, and I may just forget that I'm commentating and just be a fan. They have a very impressive lineup, starting off with a 2.5. Very, very few collegiate athletes do that.
Lee, a freshman, jumping right in on that floor lineup for West Virginia, leading off for the Mountaineers.
She is definitely a twister. You're going to see a lot of twisting in this routine. Round up double all the way down to layout. Kind of a fun, creative pass. And one thing that you like to see in floor is not only the powerful tumbling with controlled landings, but the performance. This is their time to let their personalities shine through and have fun.
Certainly appears that Anna Lee is having fun so far. She also competes on bars and beam, but as he's mentioned, this is the chance to let your personality shine through.
Just the last pass, a round off front handspring Rudy, layout step out.
Anna Lee.
That is a great start for this very prestigious floor lineup. And here's another look at that last pass. A Rudy right into a layout step out. I don't know many deductions you can find there.
There's Josie Bergstrom from Boynton, Iowa, up in the area of the state where Kelsey Paz came from, former Scholar Athlete of the Year in gymnastics in the Big 12. Her season debut on beam.
She actually debuted last meet at Auburn, coming off after a fall after Sophia Steinmeier at an SEC meet in front of 10,000 fans. And any one of those factors is hard enough, let alone put them all together as a freshman. And that is a pretty hard feat, but she handled it well and like a veteran and scored a 9.75. Had a slight balance check on her cat leap front toss into a back handspring, which is a unique series.
Everything since then has been really good.
Very solid.
From Boynton Hull High School. Really talented freshman, part of this terrific freshman class for Iowa State.
I had the chance to talk with Haley, young beam coach, and she said Josie really snuck up on everyone. She just put her head down and went to work in the fall and came out in competition and nailed it just like she did right there. Here's another look at that dismount, an aerial back full. She seemed a little bit off this routine, but nothing too drastic.
And Kendra Combs coming off a career high 9.900 last week at Denver. 7 career wins on floor exercise.
Get ready for a performance and a half. Huge first pass, great landing. She makes me feel relaxed just watching her. She carries so much swagger and confidence in her routine.
You mentioned the other part of the equation, which is power. And there's no question that Kendra Combs has power.
She has tons of it, and it is why that she scored a 9.9 on this event.
Senior leader for this team and all-arounder as well. Out of Windsor, Connecticut.
You get bonus points for ending with a double salto in your last pass.
Kendra Combs.
Another solid performance, by no surprise, from the senior Kendra Combs. Here's another look at that last pass, rounded back handspring double tuck. Slight wobble there on the landing.
And now it's Ana Palacios on beam. First 2 beam scores for Iowa State, 9.700s for Steinmeier and Bergstrom.
I get chills watching Ana on beam. She is a beautiful competitor. It's very stunning. A side aerial, back handspring step out. Very, very difficult series. She's coming up after a fall on bars, and that can be hard. Sometimes you get in your head a little bit, and gymnastics is done best when you just put your brain to the side and let your body know let your body do what it knows how to do. They've been doing it for 2 decades, so.
It's kind of what Jay was saying to you earlier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's definitely what they focused on this week. When I talked to Haley, she said they really focus on personalized assignments after talking with each athlete. And at this level, each athlete needs something different. So a coach's job is really to communicate with the athlete and finding that sweet spot. Side aerial, back full, stuck landing. That must feel amazing to come back after a fall and hit such a lovely routine. Here's another look at that stuck dismount. Chest a little bit down. Great routine put up by Palacios.
There she is, all smiles, Ana Palacios. And here is Kiana Lewis on floor for West Virginia, where she has 6 career titles and a career high 9.900. She's done that twice, once this year against Towson.
She starts off with a Rudy back layout step out.
Floor scores, as you'd expect, have been excellent for West Virginia. Anna Lee had a 9.850, and Kendra Combs matched her career high with a 9.900. Now Kiana Lewis.
When I was talking with their coach, Travis Jowick, he mentioned that sometimes it's hard to get the girls to have confidence and really put on a performance, but it helps when you have senior leadership that does a great job at this. So as a sophomore, she's putting on a great show and really seems to inhale the crowd's energy, whether she's at home or away.
Very graceful.
Very graceful. And it's very impressive to see athletes combine grace with power on this event. It's a balance. You can see her teammates giving her a little bit extra energy while she gears up for this last pass. Double tuck. Set a little bit low in that landing, was a little bit off, but another great performance put up by the Mountaineers. Here's another look at that first pass. Very nicely done.
Hannah Loyam is up next on beam for Iowa State, the freshman, coming off a career high 9.850 against Auburn.
And as Jay said, I am so impressed with this athlete. After she got lost on vault last meet at Auburn, she went up to Haley and said, after going through protocols, and said, I'm okay, and I want to do this for my team. And taking that initiative as a freshman is not something that you see hardly ever. And Haley had nothing but kind things to say on this freshman class. She's said that they motivate her to be a better coach for them.
Bit of a delay here. As the judges are discussing something.
These delays can happen early on in the season. Judges aren't always on the same page. It is subjective, so it's what one person sees and isn't always what the other person sees, and that's why they have those little meetings.
There's Hannah Loyam, the freshman from Mountain Lakes, New Jersey.
College Gym News actually rated her as one of the 13 most underrated freshmen to watch in 2022, and just by watching her, she is a great representation of qualities that anybody is looking for in an athlete. Great on the competition floor, great in practice. She's the last one to leave practice, and great in the classroom.
Kiana Lewis on floor exercise had a 9.825. So after a bit of a wait, Hannah Loyam will mount the beam.
It's never easy when you expect to go up to competition and then have to wait a few minutes. You start getting a little bit sweaty, a little more nervous, have time to sit with your thoughts. Starting off with a back handspring layout step out. She does everything with such composure and sureness. It's quite impressive. Just by watching her gymnastics, you wouldn't expect her to be a freshman, that's for sure.
Palacios' score was 9.700, so all three Cyclones have had that score so far.
Switch side. She does look a little bit off this routine. Just the dismount left. A round off 1.5, blind landing, slight hop. Not her best performance, but a good performance nonetheless.
Hannah Loyam, the freshman. There's the dismount. And now we go to Abby Pearson on floor, the junior.
She is tied for 40th on this event with Kiana Lewis. and that's in the nation. So expect a great performance put on by her.
I would expect her to be full of confidence coming off that 9.950 on vault.
Absolutely, and that was a huge double layout. It is impressive. That is an E-level pass, and that's impressive to be putting up this early on the season. Slight bent legs there in the full. She's a very graceful competitor.
9.925, her career high. That came in March of 2020. She had a 9.900 in the season opener this year against Towson.
I love how she has just danced out of her tumbling passes. It makes you almost forget that you're watching gymnastics and you're just enjoying it. Gearing up for that last pass is a double tuck. Very open position. She could almost do another double layout. She was so powerful.
Abby Pearson.
That was an impressive routine put up by Abby. Here's another look at that last pass. You can see her open body position, but still manages to find that landing, and huge routine.
And up next is Logan Boswell on beam for Iowa State.
Logan's becoming a familiar face on this event. She's been in lineup every meet so far. And just like on bars, she really flows well on everything that she does.
Junior out of Torrance, California.
Everything from the toe point to the fingers. She really pays attention to the little details, which sometimes get surpassed at this level. Back handspring layout, step out. She did step back after that, as well as have a little bit balance check.
You describe it as a save. Everything would be a save for me. Standing on that narrow little thing there.
Getting up on the beam.
Yeah, that would be a struggle too.
Just the dismount here, a side aerial, back layout full, step landing. And as I said, she just competes with such grace. You can tell Coach Haley is very happy with that performance.
Logan Boswell. And now Kiana Yancey is up on floor for West Virginia. Junior from Hatfield, Pennsylvania.
Kiana is opening up with a double pike. Great height. I could have walked under that and been just fine.
How do you explain a team having so much strength on one of the competitions that West Virginia has on floor?
It's partially due to the coaches preparing them well, especially floor. It's heavy impact, so I suspect that the coaches save their bodies a little bit, perform on softer landings. You can see some of the girls using mats on the routine, so that definitely helps save their bodies. But, I mean, these athletes are simple as they're talented. Everyone has their strong suit, and some teams have their strong suit, and West Virginia's is very clearly floor.
7th nationally as a team. And against Denver, they had 5 individuals score 9.850 or higher.
That is what any coach could hope for. Huge double tuck.
That was against Denver that they did that.
Love to see that smile at the ending there. Here's another look at that last pass. Great set. You can see right before her double flip that she really sits up tall, stands up tall with her chest up.
Macy Semple to wrap things up on beam for Iowa State. They got a 9.775 from Loyam, a 9.800 from Boswell, and now it is Semple out of Ontario. career high 9.900. And her season high last week at Auburn, 9.850.
And she is very capable of scoring beyond a 9.9. She is sure of her movement, every movement that she makes. Back handspring, layout, step out. You can see right there. And what I love about Meishi is she just looks calm and like she's having fun. And on beam, that's
hard
not,
to do.
not an easy thing to do when you're competing for others. But she does so beautifully.
Very elegant athlete on the beam.
Very illustrious athlete, having competed since her freshman year on this event.
Really finished last year strong.
And she has taken off right where she left off. It's a very technically sound routine so far. Just the aerial, back full. Wow.
Good dismount.
I have nothing else to say besides wow.
That says it all.
Yes. Here's a look back at that dismount. Great layout shake, stuck dismount. You can see the fans raising tens. And who knows, it just might be.
Brent Freeling, a freshman, will wrap things up on floor for West Virginia, making her season debut tonight, a 2019 Connecticut state champion on floor and all around. From Southington, Connecticut.
It's impressive to see a new competitor break through in this floor lineup because they have had quite the season so far, but it's nice to see them give other competitors a chance, and it shows that they truly have depth in this lineup, which is very important as the season progresses to potentially rest your key competitors maybe later on in the season. It's good to have that depth. Opening up with a rounded back handspring, double tuck, stepped out of bounds, that'll be a 10. Had a little bit too much power, but rather see that than a short landing, jamming the ankles.
What do you remember, Andy, from the very first time that you stepped into competition as a cyclone?
It's exciting. It is nothing like you've ever done before. In club gymnastics, you're competing for yourself, whereas as a collegiate athlete, you're not only competing for your team, but your university. So you have 30,000 people behind your back cheering for you and supporting you, and it's a really cool feeling. And these girls put in so many hours, and so I'd love to see them finally get rewarded for all that hard work, unrecognized hard work. Gearing up for that last pass, rounded back handspring, double pike. Chest was a little bit down, but just hasn't quite found the stamina yet, but that was a very, very great floor debut.
Look at those hugs. And yeah, it's one thing to do it in practice, but first time in competition for Bryn Freeling.
The adrenaline wears you out a little bit more than usual when you're in practice.
So we will go to break now with the third rotation completed and the fourth coming up here in Ames. Head into the final rotation here in Ames, and things are tight between West Virginia and Iowa State. The Cyclones have the distinction of having two Olympians on their team, Ariana Arrego representing Peru and Marina Gonzalez representing Spain.
I was little, like I've always wanted to go to the Olympics, and then growing up I made the national team, and then I was like, what's next? Like I want to go to South American Championships, then Pan American Championships, then Worlds. And then at 15 I was like, I really want to do this, like I want to make it to the Olympics, and that's when I like moved to the US and started training more.
To get to the national team for Tokyo representing Spain, I had to do a lot of competitions and practicing almost all my life to get there. This last year was very difficult because of COVID. We had to do a lot of inter-squats at the gym because we couldn't go outside of the country to make international competitions. And I think it was so hard, but we made it and I'm so proud of that.
When you think of it abstractly, like, oh my gosh, two Olympians on the squad, but they look at each other as like, you're just you, and I'm just me, and that's it, you know? But when it comes time to do competition, when we have pressure situations in the gym to simulate what a competition is like, you see a difference in let's say, Marina performing as opposed to a gymnast who has not been to an Olympics. And there's a difference when Ariana is doing something as opposed to somebody else who has not been to 2 Olympics. You see it then. I think that's something that we need, and I think it's something that the team is benefiting from.
For 2016, I was definitely a lot more nervous, I would say, because I didn't know what to expect. I've never competed at such a big competition. For this one's on the other side, I had a lot more experience, but I was also, I would say, more stressed because of COVID, and we had to get tested every single day there, and if you tested positive, you could get kicked off the village or not get the chance to compete. So that part was stressful, but the level of gymnastics was really, really high. Everyone was looking really good. I think some countries you could tell the pandemic hit worse and they couldn't train as much, but overall I would say the level was very high.
I felt like I was dreaming in that moment of my life, and achieving that dream was amazing. I can't explain it with words because it's something that it's like a dream from a little girl. I was trying to experience every moment as the last one, and I had a lot of fun. I will never forget it.
We are approaching the final rotation here in Ames. Iowa State and West Virginia competing tonight. And in that third rotation, we saw the powerful West Virginia floor team.
They had a great performance. Each competitor showed why they are ranked 7th nationally, mixing the power with the grace.
Iowa State on beam.
That has to be the best performance that this beam lineup has had yet this season. I know Coach Haley Young has definitely put in effort on trying to individualize the assignments this week, and it looks like it paid off.
Wrapped up by Meishi Semple. And some scores for you. There they are from beam for Iowa State. Finishing strong with Semple, Logan Boswell.
That's a great starting point since the last couple meets have been a little bit off, and that was a great way to start off this.
And look at those numbers on floor for West Virginia. Very impressive.
And that is why they are ranked 7th nationally. They get a drop the 9.65, but for a first-time competitor on floor in a away crowd, that is a pretty impressive routine that Bryn put up.
Kendra Combs leading the way again with another 9.900.
Tying her career high.
Which brings us to Iowa State on floor, where they scored a season high 49.025 at Auburn last week, currently ranked 35th nationally. West Virginia on beam ranks 24th nationally. And they'll be led by Aggie Handono.
You'll see from that mount that the Mountaineers have a very creative beam routine. They have an eclectic mix of skills. I don't think there's a single competitor that repeats the same series, which is, I think, unheard of in college gymnastics. People pretty much stick to what they know, and that was a beautiful back handspring layout, step out, a little bit soft legs throughout the acro skills.
Wasn't the song I was expecting on beam, but we'll take it.
Go from slow country to upbeat happy. Probably more used to what she's competes to in practice.
Well, she wants to be happy certainly at the end of this routine, and so far so good.
Beautiful front toss. Despite not having a ton of experience her freshman year, she really has stepped into the season in a leadoff position and has been a solid routine for the Mountaineers.
A sophomore from Gaithersburg, Maryland, Aggie Handono.
Majoring in exercise physiology and has landed herself on several different academic honor rolls, and as have many of her teammates have done as well.
Both these teams do so well in the classroom.
Very impressive to see from these student athletes. Side aerial, tuck full dismount. Very solid start for the Mountaineers. No major deductions, and that's exactly what you want to see on the beam. Ending on beam is not an easy feat, and she did a great job at it.
Kelsey Boychuk will lead off for Iowa State on floor. Her career high 9.850 at NCAA Regionals last year. She had a 9.825 at Auburn. Just an amazing finish to last season for Kelsey. She just continued to get better. You could just see the growth throughout the season, and it continues right into this year.
That is one thing I love about Kelsey, that since she has arrived on campus her freshman year, each single day she has gotten better. It has not been easy. There's been adversity thrown at her, and each season she continues to amaze me at how much she has improved.
She's a junior from Broomfield, Colorado.
1.5 layout there. It is so fun to be able to compete in your home crowd, although I'm sure competing in front of Auburn's crowd was just as fun, but it's nice to have everyone behind you in your performance.
We mentioned how strong West Virginia is on floor. Iowa State's pretty good there too, typically.
It's one of their stronger events, definitely, with that 49.025 you mentioned at Auburn last week. The thing about every event is that you start off with a 9.4 start value and have to do combinations and difficulty to achieve that 10.0. And this double tuck right here is a 10th of bonus to end with.
What a finish.
Helped her get to that 10.0 start value, and what a finish is right.
Kelsey Boychuk.
Huge performance put up by her. Her team is just as pumped as she is. Here's a replay at that last pass. That is a textbook landing. Chest up, absorb the landing.
Here's Abby Pearson, the junior from New Kensington, Pennsylvania for West Virginia, and she's had quite a night, including a career high on vault.
A standing front tuck, back handspring step out. That's an impressive skill to step into, but she does it from a stand.
Pearson's career high 9.900 in 2020.
I might start an Abby Pearson fan club by the look of her on each event. She competes with such poise. I love watching her gymnastics. Back layout, step out, back full.
Boy, she's had a night, hasn't she?
Absolutely, a very, very unique dismount that you don't see from a whole lot of competitors. And as I mentioned, you're gonna see a lot of that in this Mountaineer lineup. You can see how her dismount rises so much from the beam. Not a lot of deduction in that routine, I can tell you that.
A good look at Laura Cook, the junior from Norwich, England. Her career high came in the season opener against Nebraska. You saw it, Annie, a 9.900.
And it deserved a 9.9. And you're gonna see 2 passes from her only. Kind of helps save the body. You don't need 3 passes, although a lot of athletes choose to do that. But it speaks to how difficult these 2 passes, that she can gain all the difficulty just in those 2 alone. Starting off with a front double into a stag jump. She is very playful with this home crowd.
Boychuk, by the way, matched her season high with a 9.825 on her floor exercise. And now it's Laura Cook.
Very energetic competitor. You can see a smile on her face at almost any point in this routine.
She knows how to play to the crowd, doesn't she?
Oh, absolutely. And if she looks at the judges straight in the eye in some parts, on purpose, and to get them to have a little bit of fun too, and hopefully miss maybe a pointed toe or flex toe or something. Round off, 1.5, front full.
See the enthusiasm of her teammates there in the backdrop.
There's not much to say about that routine. You can look at her teammates.
Exactly, that says it all.
Exactly. Here's another look back at that last pass, round off 1.5, front full. A lot of people just do a layout into that, but she adds a full twist.
Rachel Hornen's up on beam, 2 career titles on that apparatus. Experienced senior.
You're going to see another fun series from Rachel with a pitch kick front aerial into a one-arm backhand spring. Oh.
That's too bad.
You know, beam is all about finding your symmetry, and when you do skills that are like a one-arm skill, it's hard to keep that symmetry and balance on top of the beam. I've seen her do it without any problem before, so unfortunate mistake put up by the Mountaineers.
Thankfully for her team, Pearson had a 9.875 last up. Which was strong, another strong performance from Pearson.
Absolutely, finishing strong with a round off 1.5, slight step back. And that's not a good feeling to come up after a fall on beam on the last event when you have the lead. But this is a very well-seasoned beam lineup.
Kaya Parker competes now on floor for Iowa State. An elbow injury cost her most of last season. A little cyclone theme to her music. Started off.
She competed a full in, which is a E-level pass. Let's see what she's going to do tonight. Sticks with the double tuck. Slight step back. You can see her front foot slid back a little bit, and that is a deduction. You want to see that front foot grounded into the floor.
By the way, Laura Cook, another 9.900, matching her career high that she set against Nebraska. Right now, Kaya Parker.
Round off 1.5 front layout. Oh, shoot. Just couldn't quite get her feet underneath her to set up for that front layout. A little bit over-rotated.
It's one thing to recover from a fall on the beam, but on floor, you might have another 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, it's definitely a game of staying warm for these competitors on floor. They get 2-minute touch, and that's not a lot of time when you're trying to warm up all your passes. Ends with a solid double pike. And she went out of bounds last week, so maybe she was just playing a little more reserved, trying to hold that energy that she is capable of.
The sophomore from Ozark, Missouri, Kaya Parker.
Here's another look at that last pass here, a double pike. That was a great ending to routine, and just like on bars when you fall, it's not a lot of time to take a deep breath.
Kendra Combs up now on beam.
Finishing out her all-around today.
And after having a competitor fall, pressure mounts for Combs and the other competitors for West Virginia.
I don't know if there's a single student athlete you'd rather have up in this position, though, as a senior, proving herself time and time again, and having already stayed warm throughout the competition as a all-around athlete. Front toss to flutter jump. Front full dismount. Wow, solid start. You can see the excitement radiate from her face.
Kendra Combs. We featured her in the Open for good reason.
That is a huge routine to come up after a fall, as we've mentioned before.
This is Rachel Wilkie, a freshman from East Rochester, New York. Made her cyclone debut on floor at Auburn and gets to compete in front of the home fans tonight.
To start a routine at Auburn last week, she was staring at all the student section right there, mimicking her routine, so I'm sure she's happy to stare at our student section this time around. Starting off with a full-in E-pass. Haley Young described her as really a team player. She finishes her assignment early. She'll stay until the last person is practicing, and she really does everything for the team.
Coaches appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. And if you compete with love for your team, the gymnastics will follow. Playing with the crowd a little bit here, staring at the student section.
It's a good student section now, by the way. Really good student section.
A great turnout. I know they put in some work putting posters around town, handing out free pizza, and what college student doesn't like free food?
I was going to say, you want to win over a college student, give them pizza.
Exactly. Ending with just a double pike. A little bit short on the landing. She had a little bit of a squat down last meet as well, but again, that's just the endurance, stamina. This is only her second time competing in front of this large of a crowd in college, so that will come with experience. Here's another look at that huge full in. Slight hop.
First pass, and now the last.
And that is a deduction to step forward on a backwards moving pass. But great routine put up by freshman Rachel.
Anna Lee, the freshman from St. Michael, Minnesota, just northwest of Minneapolis.
More traditional series coming up, a back handspring layout step out. Oh.
Second fall for West Virginia on B.
And we've mentioned, as a freshman, competing in college is a completely different experience. And you know, when you're needed as a scorer, you can sometimes get in your head, and that gets in your way of your gymnastics. Ending with a round off double full. I know she's a little bit disappointed in her performance, but it was a great finish.
Andrea Maldonado, the senior from Puerto Rico, up on floor where she was a first-team All-American in 2020.
You can already see it in the first second that she competes with such intensity and passion, and it's truly expressed through every single movement in this routine. Opening up with her first pass here, a front handspring, double full, punch front, very controlled landing. You can see in her face. She really enjoys performing on this event, and this is the only event that she will be competing on. But what a fun event to be your specialist event in. Massive double pike.
If you ever come to a gymnastics meet, it's worth it just to come watch Andrea compete on floor.
You gotta stay until the end, solely to watch this performance.
An entertainer deluxe. And this year she's improved each time out.
Absolutely, and gearing up for her last pass of Rudy. The front handspring, 1.5. The chest was a little bit more down than typical. But I always say on your feet is a good thing. That's a win.
Andrea Maldonado entertaining the big crowd here at Hilton Coliseum.
Here's another look at that first pass, a huge front handspring, double full. A lot of gymnasts choose to stop after the double full, but she says, why not? I'll add a front tuck after it.
Wrap up on the beam with Chloe Asper, a sophomore from Hanover, Pennsylvania. Career high 9.900 last February. 3 career beam titles for Asper.
Back handspring, layout, step out, huge triple series. And that 9.9 that she scored last year against Denver is what led her to become the Big 12 Newcomer of the Week back in February 23rd.
Chloe Asper.
Just the dismount round off. 1.5 blind landing, but no problem with that blind landing. Stuck the dismount, really sunk into that dismount. Here's another look A layout step out is a very difficult thing and something that you see in Olympians, and she does not need to be putting up that difficulty in college, but she chooses to. Very impressive.
Here's Maddie Diab on floor. 9.900 in all 3 competitions this season, currently ranked 26 nationally, 3rd in the Big 12.
Absolutely hoping to continue that trend or perhaps surpass the 9.9 that she seems to be stuck in.
She's done it before, a 9.925 a year ago.
For handspring, double full, front layout. Nailed the landing. Great leaps as well. You can see how powerful she is just by the way that her leaps rise.
The name Diab probably familiar to Cyclone fans. Her dad, a 2-time NCAA rings champion and an Iowa State Hall of Famer.
For a handspring layout full, you would like to see the second salto rise above the first salto. It's one thing the judges are looking for.
Her mom competed too, Jennifer at Wisconsin. Her brothers, Alex and Max at Illinois. It is a gymnastics family.
It is indeed, and they have quite the reputation. Trying to catch her breath here before her last pass and get the crowd involved. Hopefully giving her a little bit of extra energy. Rudy.
Wow. What a finish.
Flew.
Wow, that was incredible.
And crown on, rightfully so, as Cyclone Nation erupts with excitement. Here's another look at that second pass, front handspring layout. See how the front full was a little bit lower than the layout? You do want to see that get a little bit higher, so that might be a little bit of a deduction, but that was about the only place to find a deduction.
And that last pass.
Man.
Magical.
To say the least.
All right, so Iowa State and West Virginia have completed the competition. They'll tally things up, and we'll come back with more. Here are names. It's been fun. John Walters, Andy Johnson back at Hilton Coliseum, where tonight Iowa State and West Virginia competed passionately. And Iowa State just wrapped up a 49.225 team score on floor, which is a new season high for the Cyclones. And really, Rachel Wilkie's 9.800, a big part of that. Laura Cook had a 9.900, so Laura wins the event. And Abby Pearson being recognized from West Virginia. She had a terrific night. This was fun, Annie. Good competition tonight as these teams continue to try to work toward peaking at the right time of the season.
It was a very good competition by both teams, and you're exactly right. As I've mentioned, the season lasts until hopefully, ideally, April, and that's a long ways away. It's a lot of pounding on the body. I say gymnastics is independent football, and you're just beating on your body week in and week out. And so taking care of them is really crucial from this point on as we move out of January into February, looking on trying to stick more landings, and you saw a little bit more consistency from each of these teams, which is really exciting to see. More hit routines at this point of the season.
You know what also is fun to see, and you hate to see injuries in the sport. It's a big part of the sport. You hate to see it, but a closed door for someone opens another door for someone else, and some of these young competitors are really worth getting excited about.
Absolutely, and it gives faces that you wouldn't expect to see an opportunity to compete and gain experience before they progress throughout their career. And it really speaks a lot when they're able to step into a position and get thrown in due to an injury.
There you see the individual winners. So Cook sharing that floor championship, which is impressive against West Virginia, with Kendra Combs. And Abby Pearson, what a night for her, winning beam and vault. And Logan Boswell wins bars for Iowa State.
As I mentioned, I am starting the Abby Pearson fan club, so contact me after this meet if you want to join.
Charter member. Kendra Combs, the all-around champion for West Virginia, 39.025 for her. so the team totals will be tallied, and this one was very close throughout. We want to take a moment here to congratulate our producer, Jared Calvert, who got engaged this morning. Congratulations, Jared and Emily. And there he is in the back row, turning around to wave to us. And Jared, congratulations. And no word yet on if the wedding ceremony will be televised by ESPN Plus, but we do promise to get you those details as they become available. Congratulations to Jared and Emily. A fun day here at Hilton Coliseum, and certainly a fun day for them as well.
All of Cyclone Nation is invited.
Absolutely, yeah.
On behalf of them.
It's been fun. Iowa State holding off West Virginia here at Hilton Coliseum tonight. West Virginia will travel to Fayetteville to take on Arkansas a week from tonight, while Iowa State will have 2 weeks to prepare for a road trip to Denver, facing the Pioneers on February 13th. For Annie Johnson, I'm John Walter saying so long from Hilton Coliseum, where we believe the final score was 196.225 for Iowa State, 195.425 for West Virginia. All events airing on ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.